And now, Gumption TV presents...
Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of Storytime with Unky Judas. This is part 3 of random celebrities who I've had the opportunity of smoking weed with. Episode 5, I guess we're just going to call it. And we're still plunging ahead in our Donkey Kong Country quest. We're almost to the end, folks. We're going to make it. As promised, this is the tale of when I ran into Gogol Bordello, and we still have our in-studio guest, Mud Mustard, joining us. Thank you for being on the show tonight. So anyways, part 3 was another time with Rudiger. Yes, believe it or not, he has been there for me meeting 3 of the 4 awesomest goddamn musicians I've ever fucking had the privilege of hanging out with and smoking weed with. This time, we were trying desperately to track down Les Claypool. This was at a Primus concert where Gogol Bordello had hung out, or they opened for Primus. And that's a hell of a fucking matchup, but they're friends, apparently. They've even done a song or 2 together. So
I'll have to unpack that.
It was a good show. This was a little bit more recently, but this was still quite some time ago. I would guess, I don't know, more like 2012, 13-ish maybe. That's hard to say on this one. So anyways, we're with the Wizard and his wife, and I'm sure that you probably heard about that.
I did, but I didn't realize they were the same story, but that's all I That's all I remember about it.
Yeah, they got pictures with some of the guys from Gogol Bordello. And fucking Rudiger, he, again, kind of left the show a little bit early and tried hanging outside the bus, which he deduced was the Primus bus. And he could see people hanging out inside the bus after the show.
Primus.
And simmer down, Arliss.
Please kill me. I'm not funny.
It's not a plumbus. So anyways, he was telling me about how he had sat there outside the fucking bus and he wrote with a fucking Sharpie on the palm of his hand, "I have weed." And he's like showing it to the window.
Like legibly?
Yeah. Like trying to get them to let his ass in. And they still just fucking ignored him. So in the meantime, I didn't come to the show with Rudiger this time. I came with Wizard and his wife. I didn't even know he was at this fucking show. I kind of was looking for Les Claypool, but I was just meandering back where the buses were at.
Just followed that guy.
And so, just what I find is what I find. And this place, I saw that the bus area was accessible and there was nobody really watching it, so I just kind of sauntered my ass back there. And I saw a couple of other dudes sitting there talking to Eugene, the singer of Gogol Bordello, and Sergey, the violin player. And we just kind of walked up and joined them. We just acted like we're buddies. And they didn't mind. They just start talking to us, we start talking to them, and Eugene said something to the effect of, "Would you like to see it?" And whoever he was talking to said, "I would love to," and we all just headed inside. This was still out in the parking lot. So we just were like, okay, we're part of the fucking group. And nobody said anything, so we're in. And no, we weren't on the bus. We went inside the building. And they had a fucking guitar made entirely out of Legos. And that was what Eugene was bringing us in to look at. And this is pretty impressive. I don't know what the fuck it was doing just sitting there on a table inside the venue. But it was just chilling. So everybody's gathered around, getting selfies with the Lego guitar and with Eugene. And I'm just standing there next to Sergey, the violin player. And it kind of seemed like none of the people in this crowd realized that they were hanging out with 2 members of the band, not just one. They were making a big deal about it. Oh my God, it's the lead singer of Gogol Bordello. Who the fuck's this old guy? And I'm like, this is the violin player. This guy puts on probably the best show out of the whole fucking band. And he's like probably the oldest dude there. I don't know. Look up Gogol Bordello's live shit. There's tons of stuff going on. And yeah, he's an old dude, but he goes nuts. So anyways, I'm standing next to Sergey, and he's just kind of rolling his eyes at these dudes taking their selfies with the fucking Lego guitar, because he's probably seen it in every city they've been to across America. And I kind of look over at him, and I see his apathy, and I'm just like, hey. And I pull out an air camera, and I kind of like nudge him with my elbow, and I start taking fake pictures with my fake camera. And he totally just starts playing along. He's like, oh, I used to have one of those. And he takes it from me and starts monkeying with it. And he's like messing with the settings. He's like, oh, shit, sorry. I think it'll be better if you do it like this. And, you know, he starts taking pictures with the fucking fake camera and shit. And he hands it back to me. I was just like, dude, thanks. I really appreciate that. Because at the fucking time, I didn't even have a fucking cell phone that could take pictures. So it was badass that, well, I at least got to share this memory with that guy. So those guys had already taken off. Somehow they wind up disappearing, and me and Sergey wind up just split off from the rest of the group, not knowing where the fuck to go. Because he's only been here once. I've never been here before. It was a place called the Rail Event Center, and I don't think they're still doing shows, but they might be every now and then. I don't think they did shows all that frequently to begin with. So anyways, the back area of this shit is a labyrinth. You're like going inside and outside again and inside. I don't know, just all sorts of different, very, very fucking confusing ups and downs and ins and outs and all that shit. And all of a sudden we can hear voices, and we're back outside again, and we're walking past some other tour buses. I swear to God, we were on the opposite side of the venue as where we started, where I thought the Primus buses were. Fuck, at this point, I don't even know. I'm pretty sure we didn't wind up back in the parking lot we started at, because it didn't look the fucking same at all, and we had to have been on the opposite side. Anyways, of all fucking randomness, as we're walking past these buses, who do you think just should come bounding out from between the two buses? But motherfucking Rudiger.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And he doesn't even, like, say anything like, hey, what's up? He immediately just starts ranting. He's like, dude, I've been fucking looking all over the place for Les Claypool. I even asked one of the security guys if he knew where to find Les Claypool, and he didn't. He just acted like he didn't know who I was talking about. How in the fuck could you work at a place where Les Claypool is playing, and you don't even know who the fuck Les Claypool is? What a fucking asshole! And like the whole time I keep trying to interrupt him, like, hey, it's me. Hey, look, you know, it's me. Dude, shut up for a second. Isn't it weird that you and me just ran into each other? And he's like, yeah, dude, that's crazy. Oh, hey, what's up? You know, I kind of like had to like break him out of his fucking rant. And that's when he told me about how he wrote that he had weed on the palm of his fucking hand. And he's like, I still can't find anyone to smoke this fucking weed with. And I'm just like, dude, well, this is Sergey from Gogol Bordello. And he's like, what's up? Do you smoke weed? And he's like, oh, no, I don't do any of that shit. But, you know, like we kind of could see from a distance that there was a crowd, and that's where I guess what you'd call the green room was. And the further we got, the more we could see there was kind of a fucking party going on, you know, in this sort of an alleyway. And then, yeah, lots of fucking people. Excuse me. Next thing you know, he's leading us up the stairs into the actual room, and that's where the actual band is. And there's a couple of pretty good-looking girls, and mostly band members, and a couple of just random guys, and then me and Rudiger. And we kind of stand out like a sore thumb in this situation. And this time we think that weed is going to be our fucking backstage pass, and it's not looking like it this time. None of the band members are really interested, and they're all kind of older guys, and they're all European. And so finally, the accordion player, he agrees to smoke with us, if we agreed to load some tobacco with it and make a spliff. Because apparently I found out that, I don't know if it's all of Europe, but a lot of Europeans don't consider weed smoking to be like you don't just smoke weed by itself. You know, they always smoke it as a spliff with tobacco mixed. I don't know if it's like looked down upon or it's considered kind of like dirty or whatever, but
better.
That's just
don't know.
how they roll. I've definitely smoked a spliff before with tobacco plenty of times. I don't really mind it, but I don't smoke tobacco in the first place, so I don't prefer it. I'll do it, and it's kind of nice actually. It adds an extra little zing to it. And when you don't smoke tobacco, a little extra fucking zing goes a long fucking way. You get quite the buzz off of that shit.
Because I'm not a real smoker, and like the combo is kind of like interesting.
But I still don't really prefer it. I don't mind it every now and then, though. So I'm like, all right, what the hell? And Rudiger's, of course, trying to make this all out because he knows how to roll a fatty fucking spliff. But it's going to take some time.
He's got to make it impressive.
And I'm sitting here looking around at all these, opened cases of beer, these half-drank bottles of liquor, and I don't really know these guys well enough to feel comfortable, like, drinking their booze, and nobody's offered me any, but goddamn, you guys sure do got a lot of booze laying around it. Nobody's really drinking it either. Could definitely give you guys a hand with that. And I don't know if it was the fact that he caught me eyeballing the booze or if it was just the fact that Rudiger was taking too long to roll this spliff. But I think it mostly had to do with these ladies that Eugene was trying to get alone with. And I saw him pull, I believe it was Sergei, aside and whisper a couple things. And just by the look in his eye, you could tell he was kind of talking about us. Rudiger, of course, totally impervious to that. Because he's bent over the countertop trying to roll the best spliff he can so that the band will be so ultra fucking impressed when only one member begrudgingly just agreed to smoke with us if we would roll it with tobacco. And by the time we're done, I'm just like, dude, like, everyone else has been cleared out of the fucking room except you and me, and everyone else is looking at us, and you're, like, not even paying attention. You know, like, I practically had to grab him by the shirt and pull his ass out because we were no longer fucking welcome there anymore, and it was becoming quite apparent. So the accordion player still sat and smoked with us for a minute. He smoked maybe half of it and then went back down the stairs. We went out on the little porch thing and we smoked the rest of it to ourselves for the most part. One of their dancers, because they have a bunch of, like, I don't know if you consider them exotic dancers, but they also have a couple really attractive female dancers that are just kind of part of the stage antics, you know. They got all sorts of crazy shit. They got people just banging on buckets and shit. So she comes up and she's like, can the dancer get a hit? And we're just like, yeah, nobody else wants any. And she was one of the first people to not talk to us with an accent. And then after that, the drummer came up to us and he's like, yeah, actually, besides the dancers, I'm the only American in the band as of right now. And he was the one that kind of explained to us why they wanted us to mix it with tobacco. And, you know, that's just kind of how they are. And it's cool. And smoked the second spliff the entire way through with us. Very graciously. The end.
Thank you all for hanging out and listening. Remember to click like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and stay tuned for part 4 of this magnificent series where we hang out with one of my all-time favorite bands, The Secret Chiefs 3.
Brought to you by Derpenschlee. And remember, if it doesn't say Derpen, it's not Derpenschlee.